The Latinos, you know, Moreno means black, you know, they be like, yo, that's that Moreno style, you know, and that's the original style of B-boy. So black, yo, you know, like the Latinos, you know, Moreno means black, you know, they be like, yo, that's that Moreno style, you know, and that's the original style of B-boy.
So black kids invented breaking as we know it, as we understand. So black kids invented breaking as we know it, as we understand it.
As you can see, like, you know, a lot of these Latinos are lying, you know, they're telling a bunch of lies. Early on, in the early on days of hip-hop, they understood that hip-hop was Moreno culture and that we created it. They knew this. Now they're going to saying that people like Sammy Davis Jr. is half Puerto Rican, where we know that he identified as a black man, and when you saw him, he was a black man. Never said he was Puerto Rican. It's just like a lot of stupid stuff, right? So you got this guy, Lazy Legs. You know, he goes on to Godfrey because Godfrey and Lord Jamar is now beefing after the Professor Dave debacle when they were supposed to debate the Flat Earth situation. Godfrey is showing his true colors because Godfrey has a situation with Lord Jamar, not FBA culture, but he's showing that he was only cool with FBA culture based off of his relationship with Lord Jamar. Right, so he brings Lazy Legs onto the show. And Lazy Legs comes on, and if y'all watch it, he's talking a whole bunch of lies about hip-hop culture now, where I done showed you guys back in the early 80s, he told you where hip-hop came from and whose it was, right? Now he's saying a whole bunch of foolishness, just a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't make any sense, right? And he's doing it with Godfrey, and Godfrey's sitting there letting him do it, right? Because Godfrey, I can see now, is one of them guys that like to play both sides. But let's listen to what Lazy Legs had to say, and we'll come right back.
Look, I had put it out there. This is what happens, just so everyone's clear on it. He was running off his mouth, dragging me into this whole 50-50 conversation that I had nothing to do with it.
Okay.
And I let that slide for a long time. It was more like, yo, my man, Jamar, like, you know, you're a little reckless with your mouth. Like, how do you really want to handle this? You know, I saw him in person, and nothing happened, you know. I was like, yo, what's up? We good? What we doing? You know, and he backed down. And then next thing you know, I was about to go do a relief effort in Brandon, Florida. I partnered up with this group called HLX Plus and Procter & Gamble. Yeah. We brought like $350,000 worth of supplies to the black and brown communities, underserved communities in Brandon, Florida after the hurricane. And I was like, well, let me take this video down because I don't, you know, you work with certain companies that are like, oh,
they don't want to see that.
He's toxic. He's controversial. Of course. So I took it down, and then, you know, after that I was going to Puerto Rico. I go to Puerto Rico. I'm there for 3 weeks. I get a call from DJ Thorough. He's like, yo, Legs, I got to talk to you about something. I'm like, man, am I gonna crash? I'm driving now. So he's like, nah, let me just get these people on the phone. So he gets Alizé on the phone from Celebrity Boxing, and they're like, yo, Lord Jamar called us up 2 weeks ago. So that means it's like 3 weeks after I put the video out. No, 4 weeks. And no, it was a month and a half. That's right. So then they're like, yo, Lord Jamar called us up and asked us to set this up because he wants to teach you a lesson. And I'm like, well, first of all, it was my idea, you know. Second of all, tell him my official answer is knuckle up. Like, let's do this. I'm okay with that. I'm good. I wanted to do it in the first place. Right. And the problem with Lord Jamar is that, you know, in the fight game, if you try to set up a fight or get endorsement, look, I offered to do it to raise money for Black and Latino education. Right. He didn't bite on that. You know. So when Celebrity Boxing called me, I said, look, I wanted to do this as a fundraiser. I'll do it with you guys, but can we make some money go towards like some educational programs for our community? Yeah. And they said, yeah, we can figure out something like that too. So I'm like, all right, bet, I'm down. Right. And then, you know, but I was the only one talking about it publicly. He reached out to them to set it up, but he wanted to get paid
money grab
X amount of dollars for him to even mention it publicly.
Wow.
So it's like, dude, you don't get the money before you talk. Even the top boxers are like, they gotta shoot their shit on TV. And
wow, he really feel.
Yeah. So, but here's the fucked up part. I get death threats, all this crazy shit. Yeah. Because people got him. He got people thinking I'm bullying him, and it's like, yo, my dude.
Wow, this is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know that because that's what he did to you. He did it to me like. It's just like, It's like somebody just pulling a mask and going, this whole time you thought I was your friend.
But here's the last...
It was one of those things.
But see, Lazy Legs, he's not the only one that spoke about hip-hop culture and where it came from. Kool Herc, in his own words, also said it, right? Kool Herc and one of his OGs talked about before they created reggae and Jamaican music, they got the inspiration from us and other American artists, right? They spoke on this, right? Now, we're not saying we created reggae. We're saying that we had an influence in it, where he's talking about James Brown. He's talking about the different Cab Calloway and the different FBA artists of the old days, right? They're talking about this. So let's listen to what Kool Herc had to say.
Foundations. When I left from Jamaica, I came up here with a heavy accent. That's why I'm going back. I still got mine. I don't lose it. But you know, I come here and I try to apply reggae music to the American kids, and the heavy accent and the record, them couldn't understand it. Then Bob Marley, the Wailers came along and emphasized more on his vocabulary and the words, and people start pick up on it. So when I know when Eric Clapton made I Shot the Sheriff, I know that was a reggae record. I know that was a reggae record. So right there now, I use a lot of James Brown, a lot of, bass line in it, because James Brown is like a preacher to me. James Brown is another Lynch. James from back in the day, because we used to listen before we started make our own music in Jamaica. We used to listen to pure American music. People like Ruth Brown, James Brown, Smiley Lewis, Fancy Domino, Louis Prima and Louis Jordan. Them man there, you understand? And
so now this thing is real crazy. So now we got Lord Jamar. And he's speaking on the boxing event that they were supposed to have, because like I said, they was having like a lot of words back and forth, and Crazy Legs called them out to a boxing match. So they were supposed to get it in, right? And he went on to the show. He went on the Godfrey show to talk about it, right? But Lord Jamar responds, and Lord Jamar responds with this.
So, trying to milk the situation as Godfrey has been doing, and just showing his real colors. Because y'all say, oh, people have been saying to me, you need to apologize to Godfrey. He was your friend. He took the thing down because he was your friend. He didn't take it down because he was my friend. He took it down because I told him, take it down. Like, do you really think he wanted to have beef or some shit in that moment? Like, he took it down because he had no choice to take it down. Godfrey is a very accommodating person. And I'm going to tell you, this is not all on Godfrey. Like, Godfrey's being manipulated right now by a big fat ex-pimp, okay, who, wishes he could be me. But anyway, so Godfrey brings Lazy Legs on his show. And we could talk about all that. He brings Lazy Legs on his show. And now I didn't watch that, but I have reports. Basically, he brings Lazy Legs on there, and Lazy Legs just gets to lying about, the Puerto Ricans' contribution to hip hop, and this dude Godfrey is just letting them lie, and just doing some real spite. And I know he probably thought that, this was going to be great for him, that it was going to be positive. But the people ended up speaking on his own page. The people in the comments on his own page let him have a piece of their mind. Now, first, I want to address this whole thing with Lazy Legs in this box. Right? Now, you have two categories. You have bozos and you have businessmen. Okay? Lazy Legs is a bozo. I'm a businessman. He's acting like I wouldn't promote the fight and all of this type shit. Let me tell you the real shit, because I don't even think this is going to happen anyway. I never contacted no goddamn Celebrity Boxing. Celebrity Boxing contacted me. Okay? Celebrity Boxing contacted me and brought shit up, right? You know how much they wanted to wanted to pay me to beat this guy up? 50 bands. They wanted to give me 50 bands to beat the legs. You know how much they was going to give him? 10. He was going to get 10,000 while I get 50,000. You know why? Because he's not a... Nobody gives about him. But obviously he needed that 10 pretty bad and was really stressing for this fight to go down. I said, my man, if I don't get my deposit, if I don't get my 25, I'm not saying nothing. I'm not going to act like we doing this. I'm going to make sure the business is handled first. Okay, Lazy Legs? I'm going to make sure that we dot our I's and we cross our T's, sir. Right? That's what you're supposed to do before you jump on social media and start promoting some, okay? So yeah, they never came with the bread. So why would I come on, bro? That's ridiculous. Oh yeah, I love all you people in the comments. Hey, where are my moderators? You know what to do with these. So yeah, Lazy Legs, come on, stop it. And it's gonna get paid. Nobody is fighting for charity. He said hip hop education. You lie about hip hop education. What charity would we donate to that's not going to go with your lie and that you might get a kickback from? You think I'm stupid? You think I'm stupid? Like, come on, man. So, yes, until somebody comes with that bread, and it seems like you're not, you know what I mean? You don't garner no interest like that on the business people side. So, yeah. And you might be shocked right now. Oh, I get 50. Yep. I was only getting 10. Yep. You're a bum. Yep.
And I'm going to say this. You know, I'm a brand Nubians fan, but I'm not the biggest fan of Lord Jamar at times. You know, I don't like the way that he handled himself when he was in that debate. You know, he didn't represent FBA culture in the way that it should be represented. You know, then he talked about the guy, the fat guy, the pimp dude that be on the show with Godfrey. He put something in the you know, in the herb, and it was just a whole bunch of stuff. I wasn't really feeling the way Lord Jamar was behaving. You know what I mean? You know, he's kind of shaky, right? But he doesn't represent all the FBA culture in the lineage. He's just one person. So for Godfrey to do that, I wasn't feeling that at all. Godfrey, like, you know, Godfrey knows and understands the history. And you brought this guy on and you didn't challenge him at all on anything. You just let him say whatever he got to say because you got a vendetta now and a grudge against a person you thought that was your friend. So now y'all going back and forth. So now you bring so now you allow him to come on and lie on the whole culture. But this is the foolishness that goes on, man, amongst our group. And I keep telling y'all, we don't have no friends. We don't have any friends. All we got is us, man. And we gotta be able to tighten things up, man. We gotta be able to tighten things up, man. I ain't gonna talk long on this because I just showed y'all the proof. All right. So if you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.